When someone you trusted turns around and hurts you, it feels like the ground disappears beneath your feet. You replay every word, every moment, trying to make sense of it. You wonder how someone who once cared could switch off so easily. But here's the truth most people never talk about. The moment you start chasing answers, you give away your power. The moment you try to prove your worth to someone who disrespected it, you lose control of the story. And that's exactly where most people go wrong. So, today, let's turn the game around. Instead of reacting to his silence, his coldness, or his sudden distance, you are going to respond with something far stronger, calm, unpredictability. You are going to confuse him, not with drama, but with growth, because nothing shakes a man more than seeing the woman he underestimated become peaceful, focused, and untouchable. This video will take you through the quiet strategy that strong women use when they are hurt, a strategy based on psychology, emotional discipline, and self respect. You will learn why reacting emotionally gives him control and how shifting your focus inward flips that control back to you. You will discover how silence speaks louder than words, why distance builds mystery, and how rebuilding yourself becomes the most powerful form of revenge. Stay till the end because we are not just talking about how to make him wonder what happened. We are talking about how to truly take your power back. There's a hidden strength that appears when you stop trying to fix someone else and start protecting your own peace. And once you understand this, you will never chase closure again. You will create it. In the next few minutes, we will break down the real reason people hurt those who love them and how to respond in a way that leaves them confused, questioning, and even regretful while you rise higher than before. There are small changes in behavior that completely alter the emotional balance between two people, and most never realize how much power lies in the way you respond, not in the words you say. So, if you have ever been left wondering why someone's attitude changed overnight or why your kindness turned into something he took for granted, this video will open your eyes. You will see how pulling your energy back doesn't just confuse him, it transforms you. It sends a silent message: you cannot hurt me twice. Welcome to Rise and Inspire Motivation, the place where strength meets self respect and healing becomes power. If you're ready to rise above pain, to protect your peace, and to grow stronger from what tried to break you, you are in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because here we do not chase validation, we build value. And it all starts right now. You gave your heart fully, you cared deeply, trusted completely, and believed the connection was real. Then one day he changed. His messages became shorter, his tone colder. Maybe he started ignoring your calls, maybe he pulled away without explanation. You keep wondering where things went wrong because in your mind you did everything right. The memories still play in your head, the laughter, the promises, the late night talks that now feel like a lie. That kind of pain does not just hurt, it shakes your confidence and makes you question your worth. In moments like that, every part of you wants to react. You want to call him, text him, ask why. You want to remind him of everything you shared to make him understand how much he's hurt you. You replay the last conversation again and again, thinking maybe if you explain yourself clearly, he will realize what he lost. But deep down, you sense that chasing answers will not bring peace. It will only pull you deeper into his silence. Every time you reach out, you hand him the emotional control. Every time you try to make him care, you tell him that he still has power over your emotions. That is how people stay trapped. Not because the other person still loves them, but because they cannot stop reacting to the hurt. When your world feels like it is collapsing, silence feels unbearable, but that silence might be your greatest weapon. The truth is, he expects you to fall apart. He expects the long messages, the tears, the questions. That is what keeps his ego fed. But when you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, you shift the energy completely. You become unpredictable, and nothing confuses someone more than calmness from the person they thought would break. This is where the real power begins, not in anger, not in revenge, but in restraint. Because silence makes people think, it makes them wonder if you finally realized your worth. When you stop reacting, you stop playing his game and start changing the rules without saying a word. When someone hurts you, it is easy to believe that you were not enough. You start overanalyzing every word, every action, wondering if you said something wrong or failed to do something right. But the truth is often different. When a man hurts you, it usually says more about his own struggles than about your worth. Some men act out of insecurity. They fear losing control, so they push away the person who makes them feel vulnerable. Others fear commitment and use distance or silence to protect themselves from emotions they cannot handle. Sometimes it is pure immaturity and inability to value something real because they have never learned how. The painful part is that he may not even understand what he is doing. People often hurt the ones who show them genuine care because that care exposes their flaws. It mirrors back the parts of themselves they do not want to face. So instead of confronting their issues, they run, they withdraw, or they act cold. It is not fair, but it happens more often than you think. When you experience this, it can leave you feeling powerless. You start to question your judgment, your love, your sense of self. The silence from him becomes noise in your mind. You want to fix things, but nothing seems to work. That feeling of being stuck, suspended between caring and trying to move on, drains you more than the heartbreak itself. You keep replaying what you could have done differently, not realizing that his actions were never fully in your control. Giving too much is where many people lose themselves. You try to prove your loyalty, your patience, your love, hoping it will make him change. You ignore red flags, excuse cold behavior, and keep giving until there is nothing left to give. That is how power quietly slips away, not because he took it, but because you handed it over piece by piece in the name of love. But you are not meant to live in that space of confusion and pain. The moment you see that his actions reflect his inner battles, not your shortcomings, everything starts to shift. You begin to see that your power was never lost, it was only hidden beneath your habit of overgiving. You do not need to chase his understanding to find peace. You need to remember your own value, and that realization is the first step back to strength. The most powerful response after being hurt is silence, not the kind that's meant to punish or manipulate, but the kind that protects your peace. When you go quiet, you shift the entire dynamic. He expects anger, long messages, or emotional explanations, but instead he gets calm stillness. That silence speaks louder than any argument. It tells him you're no longer available for his chaos. It forces him to face the space he created. Silence isn't weakness, it's control. It shows that your energy is no longer dependent on his actions. When you stop reacting, you take back the emotional balance that he once dictated. But silence alone is not enough. While you step back from him, you must step forward into yourself. Focus on you. Level up in every way you can, mentally, emotionally, even physically. Do the things you stopped doing when your world revolved around him. Reconnect with your passions, your friends, your peace. Start working on your goals quietly. Nothing confuses someone more than watching you glow after they thought they broke you. When you shift your attention from the pain to your personal growth, you begin to rebuild the confidence he tried to shake. Then comes your value check, the moment you decide what you will and will not tolerate. Boundaries are not about building walls, they are about defining your worth. When you finally say, "This is what I accept and this is what I don't," you stop letting others decide how to treat you. You start walking with a new kind of strength, quiet but firm. People who once took advantage of your kindness start feeling the difference. That shift alone changes the game because you no longer bend to be chosen. And when you show up again, do it differently, not needy, not bitter, not seeking approval, just calm, clear, and confident. This version of you is rare and unpredictable. The same person who once reacted to every text now responds with grace and detachment. The same woman who used to explain her worth now lets her silence prove it. That is what truly confuses him. He cannot figure out how you went from emotional to unbothered, from chasing to choosing. When you reach that point, the balance flips completely, and the power that once felt lost quietly returns to you. He thinks he knows exactly how you will react. He has seen it before, the calls, the late night texts, the long messages trying to make sense of everything. He expects the tears, the questions, the emotional outbursts. In his mind, you will chase him, you will try to fix things, and you will wait for him to decide what happens next. That's the pattern he's counting on. He's certain that no matter how much he pulls away, you will come running back because that's how he keeps control, by predicting your reactions and staying one step ahead. But this time, everything changes. Instead of breaking down, you pull back. You don't call, you don't beg for closure. You give yourself the distance he never expected you to take. You shift your energy from proving your worth to protecting it. You start doing small things for yourself, reading, working out, spending time with people who actually value you. You focus on becoming better, not bitter. Every day, your silence grows louder, your confidence stronger. While he wonders why you're not reacting, you're rebuilding the parts of yourself that he took for granted. This quiet shift creates confusion because it flips the emotional balance. The person who once had power through your reaction suddenly has nothing to hold on to. He can't control what he can't predict. When he texts, you don't rush to reply. When he disappears, you don't chase. That stillness makes him question his own importance in your life. You're no longer a player in his story, you've become the author of your own. That is where the real strength lies. You stop responding to his script and start writing your own version of what happens next. The one where your peace matters more than his attention, the one where silence becomes your message and progress becomes your proof. When you live your life instead of reacting to his, he loses the ability to define your worth. And while he's left wondering what changed, you're out there creating a life that doesn't revolve around his approval. Reclaiming your power begins quietly, deep inside, where the hurt still lingers. It's not about showing strength to the world, it's about healing the parts of you that no one sees. The moments when you lie awake thinking of what went wrong, the doubts that whisper you weren't enough, that's where the real work begins. Healing isn't fast or glamorous, it's messy and slow. It means facing the truth of how much you gave, how much it drained you, and learning to forgive yourself for allowing it. You start to realize that your worth was never defined by his attention. It was always yours, buried beneath the noise of trying to please someone who didn't value it. The more you turn inward, the more clarity you gain. You begin to rebuild trust with yourself, the trust that you can make decisions that protect your peace. You stop questioning your instincts, stop explaining your feelings away, and start listening to the quiet voice inside that knows what you deserve. Power isn't about control or winning someone back. It's about choosing yourself even when it feels hard. It's the decision to walk away from what hurts and stand firm in what heals. This is where self care becomes more than just a routine. It's the way you remind yourself that you matter. Spend time with people who make you feel light, not small. Pick up new hobbies that make your mind and spirit come alive again. Let your days be filled with growth, not waiting. And with every act of care, every walk, every deep breath, every boundary you set, you rebuild your power piece by piece. You learn that healing isn't about becoming who you were before, but about becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more at peace with yourself. At some point, he starts to notice the shift. The silence that once seemed like weakness now feels different to him, heavier, stronger, harder to ignore. He begins to wonder why you're not reaching out, why you're not reacting the way he expected. Maybe he scrolls through your social media looking for signs that you still care. Maybe he sends a casual message, testing the waters, trying to see if you'll respond the same way you used to. There's curiosity in his actions now, a quiet confusion that grows each day you remain calm and distant. He might come back or he might not. He might ask how you've been, pretend nothing happened, or try to explain himself in vague, empty words. But this time, the difference is not in what he does, it's in how you feel. You're no longer waiting for his message to validate your worth. You're not checking your phone every hour, hoping he remembers what he lost. You've reached a point where his presence or absence doesn't define your peace. You're not reacting to his energy, you're responding with intention and clarity. If a conversation happens, it's on your terms. You listen, you observe, but you don't fall back into old patterns. You no longer feel the need to prove your value because you already know it. You can speak calmly or choose silence. Both are power moves now. Whether he stays gone or tries to return, you remain grounded. The choice is finally yours, not his. Because when you've done the inner work, you realize that your heart is no longer a place he can walk in and out of at will. You decide who gets access, and that decision alone changes everything. When someone hurts you, the strongest response isn't rage or revenge, it's calm strength. It's showing that no matter what they did, you are still standing, still grounded, still in control of your peace. That unshaken energy is what truly confuses people who expected to see you broken. Remember, power isn't loud, it's quiet confidence. It's choosing yourself again and again, even when someone else didn't. This is your life. This is your power. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth or your silence. Every time you protect your peace, you build strength. Every time you walk away from what hurts, you rise a little higher. Now take a moment to reflect. What boundary will you set today? What habit or reaction will you stop that keeps giving your power away? Your next chapter begins the moment you decide to stop explaining your worth and start living it. If this message spoke to you, click the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And make sure to subscribe to Rise and Inspire Motivation, where every word reminds you that your peace is power and your growth is your greatest comeback.